Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Two Peas in a podcast, episode 7. My good lord! But we hope that you are good. We are hosted, as ever, by me, Katie Oman, and by the glamorous, gorgeous
Jessica, hi.
Hi, gorgeous. How are you doing today? I love
I'm
the,
good.
I love the shirt. You're looking very cute. I love it.
Oh,
Love it.
thank you. Yes, I guess I have to show you guys. It says strawberry jams, but my Glock don't. So I want.
I have to say, Jess, that is probably one of the most American t-shirts I've ever seen in my life.
I've been into these like funny T-shirts lately. I don't know, which is not my thing, but I've been into it. So I'm
You wouldn't get
embracing
that.
it.
You wouldn't get that top in the UK. Let's put it that way.
Well, if I visit you, I'm going to make sure I bring this top. We'll be like,
Yeah.
spot the American. Oh, we found her.
Yeah. Oh, funny, funny. But we hope that you are all well, and we thank you for tuning in to another episode with us. And we've got a good chat again today, haven't we, babe? What are we talking about today?
We are going to talk about tarot, something that we both have very strong opinions on and a lot of experience with. I'm really excited about this since I wouldn't say my whole life revolves around tarot. That's a little extreme, but a big chunk of my life is involving tarot. So I'm really excited. And what about you?
Yeah, it was because it's got, like I say, so much juice in this. Like you and I have been using the cards for a long, long time between us, and we definitely have experiences and things that we can dive into. And, we have a rough idea of what we're talking about. But of course, as ever, we're free to go wherever we need to go. So it's going to be good, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, just because we have a lot of experience on tarot doesn't mean that we are like the experts, the end all be all for tarot. So if you have different opinions, if you have different experiences, that's absolutely fine. I was trying to think before this episode started, how long has it been since I've been doing tarot? I think I started around like 2015, 16, maybe 2014, because I know I was doing tarot before my son was born, and he was born in 2016, but I didn't start my YouTube until 2019.
Yes, and I remember when you did, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
I
lot.
yeah, I've been reading cards since 2010. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
while, and yeah, so let's dive into it. So, okay. First question for those who perhaps A, don't know, and B, perhaps are interested in our take on it. How would you define what tarot means and what it is for you?
For me, tarot is a tool.
Mm,
It is like a hammer or a screwdriver, right? Each tool in your toolbox has a specific job. And so tarot is the same way. It for me, tarot is something that can give you a glimpse and a snapshot into what you are currently going through to help you better understand the feelings that are already inside of you.
yeah,
Very few times is tarot going to tell you something that you don't already know or you're not intuitively picking up already. We can strike gold sometimes and it can predict things in the future, that is for sure. But I would question if you already didn't know that or you already weren't suspecting that, even if it is a
yeah.
future predictive type of thing. So I don't know if you agree with that or.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I done a lot of readings over the years, and yeah, most 9 times out of 10, it's validation. It's confirmation of what the client already is wanting or thinking or moving towards. So, and it's nice for them because you are, like I say, you're confirming how they already think or feel or whatever. For me, as well as a tool, it's also a door. So, as I see it, it's a tool for my psychic uh, abilities, I suppose. So that it's not that they are just pieces of card, right, with pictures on. That's what they are. There's
Yeah.
nothing magical and mystical about them. What they are is a door that allows me to bring through guidance and messages that I'm channeling down. So, and I love it when like you're psychically picking up something and then the cards confirm it. It's like it's wonderful doorways for me.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of the best parts about tarot is when you say something and then a card comes out that directly reflects what you've been thinking. And I want to clarify too, when we're talking about tarot, we can be talking about oracle as well, like oracle decks, oracle cards, because there is a difference. But I do use a lot of oracle,
Yes.
so
Me too, me too. Somebody asked me what I think the difference is, and it's that meme. Whereas oracle cards are like, "You're doing great, girl. I'm so proud of you." And tarot cards are Whoopi Goldberg from Ghost going, "Oh, you're in danger, girl." Right? They will call you out like nothing else.
Yeah, I find that Oracle gives you like an overall view, and Tarot really is what digs in with the details.
But yeah,
So,
tarot doesn't pull your punches. If you want tough love, tarot will give you tough love.
yes, yeah. And it definitely depends on the reader too.
No, of course.
But yes, Tarot definitely gives you the dirty details for sure. And I find that that's interesting. That's an interesting point too with Tarot, because just like with a tool, it isn't how you use it.
Yes.
And it is up to the reader as well. Yes. And that can really have a very large impact on how the reading ends up and what messages come through. Because I could look at, say, the Three of Swords, for example. I could look at the Three of Swords and see something, and then another person could look at the Three of Swords and see something completely different.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also very much, although it is just pictures on cards, obviously every author, creator of tarot decks will have a slightly different take on the image because they're putting their own stamp on it. And even that, I know people who will multi-deck on tarot, so that because the imagery itself is giving messages and meanings. So if you pulled like three of swords, they're all going to be slightly different from each other, even though even that can give, you know, extra meanings, as it were, extra layers.
Yes, I'm a very big intuitive reader.
Yeah.
So versus going by what the booklet says, which I often don't read, I'm very.
We know.
Katie knows this because Katie does actually like to look at the booklet. I'm more of like a, throws it over the shoulder. We don't need that. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I go by illustration. And so I like decks that really speak to me. Like if I'm just looking through the deck and I'm already getting stories in my head, I'm already seeing scenarios. I love that. My favorite tarot deck, I have it right next to me as usual. The Everyday Witch Tarot.
I'll show you mine.
Yes, go get yours. My absolute ride or die is this deck, guys. And if you've been on my channel, you know I use this dang thing like almost every single reading. Just love the illustrations. It's perfect. They're perfect. Okay, what's your favorite?
The Lightseer Tarot by Chris Ann Donnelly. Oh my God, see the imagery. And I love, because I've got my mentor, which I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, said to me that a lot of healers have quite small hands. I don't know if that's true, but I've noticed I'm quite a tall person. I'm I come from big people, if you like. So I'm like 5'8", 5'9" on a good day. But my hands are quite small for a tall person. We probably can't get it on camera. So I love these because they perfectly fit in my hand.
Yeah. I actually have that deck right here. Wait, no, I do have it somewhere. I don't know where it's at. I thought I had it. Oh wait, I do. Let me grab it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look how big this deck looks to my hands. I'm serious. When I saw you,
perfectly fits in mine. It doesn't
look how big it is. When I saw you pick up that deck, I was like, "Is that the same deck?" Because this thing's huge. I have a hard time shuffling this deck because it's so big. But I do like this deck. It has great illustration. Yeah. I mean, look at that. That's a perfect example. 8 of Cups. Yeah. Doesn't that just fully embody what the 8 of Cups represents? I mean, yes, I feel like the illustration makes a difference. However, I do like decks like I'm not going to go through all my decks right now, but there's like a tattoo tarot deck that I have that shows basically like the wands are just basically staves kind of stacked, doesn't have any illustration. And I find that those decks can be nice because they can really test your intuition and make you think outside of the box a little bit with the meanings. Did we lose you? Did you freeze?
I think we have technical issues, guys. I don't know. It's very real. We're very polished and real, but we have technical issues. But we're back. It's okay. It's all good. We're real, you know. That's the other thing I was going to say. If you get into tarot, oracle, you will start to collect. So literally my phone, which I'm recording on right now, is balancing on 3 decks. I'm not even lying to you right now. And then I've got probably about 30 decks. And I love them. My mom said to me, "Why don't you put them away and put them in a box or whatever?" And I was like, "No, that's where they live. They live over there."
Yeah, because you never know when you need to use a certain deck. I have all of my decks set up, and I actually went through on my channel recently. You can find it if you look back. I did a 3-part series on my decks. I did like handmade and the ones that I have created decks.
Yeah.
I did tarot, and then I did oracle. I have like 40, 50 tarot decks. It's ridiculous. And one would say, do you really need all those decks? And one would answer, yes.
Yes, we do. We do, because we love them. And I say every single one is different, right?
Right, yeah.
There's a few things that annoy me, which, we talk about it a bit. One of the things that I disagree with, and it's only my opinion, you can disagree with me if you want, I won't take it personally, is that when people go, your first tarot deck should be bought for you. Yeah. And I go, but you have to connect with it as a reader. So why? I can't have somebody else buy my decks for me unless, I know that you've bought decks for me, but that's because I've gone, I like this deck.
Yeah. Yeah. You send, like, we send wish lists to each other for presents and stuff. And there's always tarot decks in there. And like you bought this most recent Everyday Witch Tarot for Christmas for me. Yeah, I don't agree with that either, with buying your own first deck. I mean, I guess, but then again, I've never been a ritualistic, traditional type of person anyway. I've kind of always been like a make up my own rules type of person. You did buy me my first Oracle deck.
Did I?
Yeah, it's right here. Magical Mermaids.
Yeah.
I still have it, and it's a biatch to shuffle because it's so old. But I love that deck, and it was the first Oracle one that I've ever had, and that you ever bought me, because I wanted to be a purist when I first started out with tarot. I was like, I'm just going to only read tarot, and we are going to do this, and it's gonna be great. But then I discovered the world of Oracle, and I love it. So,
did I tell you the story of when I bought my first deck?
I don't think so. Maybe
So it was 2010, as I say, and my parents at the time lived in Cornwall. For those who are not familiar with the UK, Cornwall is the easternmost tip. So you got the UK, it's that bottom eastern tip that sticks out like a leg. That's Cornwall. And my parents lived there for like 5 years. And so it's a very spiritual place. Like I think when you're awakening and you go to a place where it's like, you can feel the vibes, it's wonderful. And I was in my vibes, and I was feeling it, and I was awakening, and it was so cool. And I went into a spiritual esoteric store in a place called Boscastle. And I think it's called like the Witch's Tavern or something. It's so cool. And I swear to God, I literally felt as I walked in the door as though there was a silver cord attached to my heart, or even just like what would that be? My solar plexus chakra, that was pulling me across the store. I felt like I was powerless. And I reached the bookcase, and my eyes were drawn to, have I had the cards actually? No, I think I got rid of them. It was the Angel Tarot by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine.
Oh, okay.
And I hadn't, well, although my mentor had been teaching me, we'd been using her deck, which was the traditional Rider-Waite tarot. I didn't, and this was like, it was my first deck, but it felt very divinely guided. I felt like I was guided to that deck.
I was trying to see if I could find my first tarot deck, but I can't find it.
No, we have a lot of decks.
Discombobulated right now. Hold on, guys. I don't know.
That's a big word. Discombobulated. Get you.
Well, thank you.
Well, you got words of the day toilet paper.
Thank you. No. It's the Cosmic Tarot.
Yes.
And it is, I got it. See, with me, guys, Katie is the one that really inspired me to start reading tarot. Because we were, as we've talked about already, I think we were in this spiritual group that was on Facebook and everything. And at that time, we were reading people by just their photos.
Yeah.
And so that's how I was developing within my psychic abilities, was basically by reading photos and whatever messages would come through. But I noticed that Katie was using tarot, and she really seemed to really like it. And I was like, what if this would help me develop a little bit more within my intuition, right? So I took a lot of time to find a tarot deck, and I picked the Cosmic Tarot because it was created in 1986, and so was I. And I've always been a big fan of like German culture for whatever reason. And it was made by a German creator. So that was something that really connected with me. And yeah, tarot just kind of just it became a part of, you know, my life. After I started reading tarot, I was like hooked. It was like it felt like almost like you were cheating a little bit with your intuition. Like it made it easier because like everything that you were thinking, it would be right there on the cards. And it was like, well, I don't really have to guess if this is real or not. Like, cause you know, like when you're a psychic, you battle yourself.
Yeah.
Like, are these messages real? Is this valid? Am I just crazy? Like that's constant things that are going through your head while you're giving somebody a reading. But if you have tarot that you say something and then it throws out the card, it's like there's no arguing with that. So yeah, it made it easier.
I agree. I do remember one reading. I was just reminded when I first started. Of course, there's a lot of imposter syndrome. You know, it's a confidence thing. The more readings you do, the more confident you get in your ability of using the cards and delivering messages. And I had this woman come to see me, and she was an older lady. And you know, I'm giving her all the messages, and she's taking them, and it's awesome. And I had this really strong image in my brain of somebody doing a ski jump. I swear down. And I thought, and I intercepted the message in my brain and went, well, that can't be for her because she's an older lady, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the reading, she went, that's brilliant. Is there anything else that's coming through? And I laughed and I told him, and she went, I booked a trip to go to Switzerland next week.
Yeah.
And that was really a key message for me is it's not my job to interpret the message. I am the radio. It is coming through me. My job is to give the message.
Yes. Yes. And that is something that I feel like a lot of readers, we go through that. And I still to this very day struggle with that. I actually released a reading just about an hour before I did this episode, where I was really struggling with releasing it because the reading didn't make sense to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And really, the readings aren't supposed to make sense to me because they're not my readings.
Yeah.
And that stuff happens. Like the other day in a reading, I had said that it was very specific, but I had said that I felt that somebody could be finding out an old password to an old email account or social media account, and there was something valuable in there. And you can't make it up. In my comments, there is somebody commenting saying that about finding a password to an old account is for me. That's true. And you know, these things, it's like if you kind of intercept the messages, as you said, people don't get the full scope of their reading that they're meant to get. So sometimes it's about just chucking it down to, well, this is for somebody.
Yeah.
Even if I don't understand what this is saying, somebody needs to hear this message. So it can be hard battling yourself with these things. I mean, you would think like after all the psychic work that you and I have done combined over all the years, you would think that we would truly, fully, 100% never, ever doubt ourselves, be so confident, believe in the messages. I believe that. It's not like that, at least not for me.
Yeah, but imposter syndrome is a very real thing. And I would argue that everybody suffers with it from some degree or another. Because if you don't have imposter syndrome, I would argue, I mean, I'm not a medical professional, but I would argue that you're either a narcissist or a sociopath.
I mean, you know, that's a bold statement, but hey, I don't know. I know that I suffer with imposter syndrome.
I think most people do. I think it's a natural part of your brain because we're constantly, you know, we're questioning ourselves and doubting ourselves and, you know, self-esteem and self-worth and, you know, all these things. It's not as straightforward. You know, if you were 100% confident, then, you know, you would never doubt yourself about anything. But the thing is that life will throw you experiences and lessons with other people to kind of push you and test you. And so sometimes you feel you're confident and then you get somebody coming through for like a client where you're like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not as confident as I thought I was.
Yeah, I mean, that has definitely happened before. I have had some people, not very many, and actually the most significant one wasn't even somebody that's part of my collective. This was somebody in person when I was trying out the flea market thing, reading readings, and she was just, I could tell from her energy as soon as she sat down that she didn't believe in any of this. This was all a joke, and this was her great opportunity to crush my spirit. You know what I mean? Like that's the energy she was giving off. And I was so new still to this and nervous about it that's exactly what happened. She shot down everything I said. And I remember I think I got on the phone. I think I left you a message crying or something. I was really upset over that because I was already doubting myself. So to have this person come in and just completely crush everything I said, which is fine. I mean, but it's like it gave her pleasure, which was disturbing to me.
Absolutely. You're going to get it. You're going to get people who just, you know, my dad said to me once that I'm either a scam artist or I'm insane.
Ouch, y'all.
Yeah, which, you know, there's a story there, but we won't go there today.
Ouch.
But you know, there are people that genuinely believe that we are out to hurt people, that we are here to, and okay, there are people who claim to do readings who do not have morals and ethics and professional integrity. Let's be honest about this. As somebody who's on social media, I've had my account cloned multiple times. People pretending to be me, trying to get money off my followers. And it is unbelievably frustrating. My other thing, because tarot and oracle cards and stuff is not regulated, so anybody can go into a shop, buy a tarot deck and set themselves up in business.
Yes.
And there's no balances and checks, and they can be putting messages out there and hurting people. I think that we have a duty of care. I really believe that it's our responsibility to look after people that we read for. And I don't see, yes, there are scam artists who want the money, but for me, and I know it's exactly the same for you, Jess, we absolutely care about the people we're trying to help.
Yeah, which is why it's really up to the sitter, which is the person getting the reading. It's really up to them to use their discernment.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be scam artists. I mean, do I think that people should be paid for their psychic abilities? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like people should be paid for their psychic abilities. That is how the world works, an energetic exchange. You give, I give, you know? And nobody lives for free on this planet. Everybody has bills to pay. Everybody has, well, most people have kids, bills, pets, whatever, you know? So you should, if somebody is bringing something of value to your life and helping you, you should want to give something back in return. That's how I feel.
I agree.
But there are people who only do it for money and it doesn't even matter. I mean, I've paid $80 before for an 11-minute reading that told me nothing. And I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't mean to the person, but I did tell them this is why me as a professional reader, I do not get personal readings.
Yeah.
This is why, because there's very few people that put the care and the time and the energy into the readings. I mean, I charge for my readings $50 for what is supposed to be and I say this very lightly, a 25 to 35 minute reading that usually ends up being about 40 minutes because I can't stop talking. And plus, I'm not the type of person that's like, well, time up, bye. Like I finished the message here, you know? But yeah, you have to use discernment, guys. If something is not making you feel right, it's not for you. If something is invoking fear, it's not for you. Like we had said earlier in this episode, tarot is something that confirms what you're already feeling. So if it's not doing that and it's taking you to a place of fear and panic or darkness, it's not for you.
Yes. I totally agree. You know, it's you've got to kind of trust yourself. And if you've got any vibes that are off, any vibes where you're not comfortable, step away from that person. You don't owe that person anything. You know what I mean? We discussed briefly what we were going to talk about before we started this episode, and I need to address the elephant in the room. Okay? Because it really, really, really upset me and angered me. And you know, I don't get like that very often. I'm such a Libra. I'm so laid back. I haven't got time for drama, especially not my own. But this was just awful. And I have to talk about her, and I'm hoping we don't get sued. And I am going to name her because I don't care. And that is the Doreen Virtue.
Okay. She's very passionate about this, guys. So let her have her moment.
Let me get on my soapbox for a second. Okay. So when I awakened back in 2010, Doreen was the person I found first. Okay. I found her tarot decks. I found her books. And I give her due. I think she really helped me to understand who I am and to accept who I am. You know, she doesn't know me. She doesn't know me from Adam. But I went by kind of reading her stuff and using her products, I felt like I was really kind of developing. And she was putting a lot of content out there. As you know, you don't have to be kind of even fully in the spiritual industry to realize that she was putting a lot of content out at one point. And then she got remarried, and she apparently, according to her, had a moment with Jesus, shall we say, where, according to her, she saw Jesus. Fair. I'm not one to judge. If that's what she wants, awesome. What annoyed me was that she then cast out everything that she had done previously as satanic and evil and of the devil, including all of the decks that she had put her name to. And I really got cross with the way it was handled, not just by her, but by Hay House, because they didn't really put a statement out about it. And the thing about spirituality draws in a lot of people who are quite broken, whether it's mentally, emotionally, energetically, people who have been through some stuff, and people who are quite in a vulnerable position. You and I both know that, Jess. We read for people who are in a vulnerable state a lot. And to potentially cast these things out as evil and demonic, I think, in my opinion, was a very dangerous thing to do. And also, there was no duty of care at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in this situation with Doreen Virtue, I do want to say that I never really was into her decks as much as you. That was something that was really a lot earlier than when I got introduced.
Yes.
And though the first deck that you got me
is
the Doreen
Virtue
deck, okay, Magical Mermaids and Dolphins. I love her decks. I think her decks are great. That's what's really kind of sad about it, was that she was really in her power, I feel like, when she was creating these decks, because they were so good, so helpful. I don't like the whole judgmental thing either, of kind of, saying everything now is demonic and it's bad and all of that. It's really damaging to people, like you said, who are really personable, or not personable, impressionable is what I was trying to say. Yeah, it's really damaging to people like that. I feel like to each their own needs to be something that is practiced more. Like, if you want to denounce things, that's fine. If you want to stop, that's okay. But don't make other people feel bad for what they believe.
Yeah.
Don't make other people feel bad for what they practice. Mm-hmm. And for those of you that are like, who is Doreen Virtue? This was somebody who was like literally like the face of divination and tarot at one point. Like, this is not somebody just a random person. She was everything when it came to, tarot, oracle. I mean, she was like the expert on this. Okay. And she profited a lot of money.
Yes, she did.
And one of my things is, you denounced tarot and oracle. Did you denounce the money that you made?
No, she claimed that she used it to the animal rescue,
which is honorable.
And of course, that's what she said. I don't know the woman.
Yeah.
She lives in Hawaii. Well, she did. I don't know if she still does. With her animal sanctuary place, but I don't know. It's the short answer. I don't know if she still does. I did hear rumors that she doesn't do that anymore. So I don't know. It's the short answer.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's unfortunate, and you can't really find her decks anymore unless they're on like eBay.
What was interesting was that I had a moment, because I was so upset and so angry that I genuinely thought, should I get rid of my decks? Not because they're demonic, but because they had her name on.
Yeah.
And then I had a moment where I was like, actually, I've had these decks for a long time. And I have helped people and I work with them, and they're not her decks, they are mine.
Yeah. At the end of the day, and like I said, I still use her, what few decks I have. Yeah. I only have one actual real deck, and then the other ones are all dupes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love the decks. They're really good, and I don't know nothing about her. I don't keep up on her. I don't, like I said, this was more something that I think impacted you.
Yeah.
Than it did ever impacted me. But you find this a lot, with tarot, which brings us into that conversation anyways of tarot. Is it demonic? Is it something from the devil? I've never by any of my family, thankfully, been called like a devil worshiper, like you have. That's really unfortunate that, scamming people and stuff, saying that. That's unfortunate. But I have been told that in my comments before.
Mm.
I've been told a lot of stuff in my comments. Like, it's ridiculous sometimes the things that people say that I feel like personally they would never say to my face, but whatever. I don't know. I mean, I like to think that I'm helping people, and I feel like if something helps you, it can't be bad. That's how I feel. You know, if it's helping you, it's not up to me to decide if this is helping you. I'm putting the information out there, and you're processing it and making it fit and resonate for your life however it does. So if you leave my messages feeling inspired, feeling like you figured something out, feeling like you have answers, feeling like you're not alone, or if you just laughed, that works too, then I don't think that comes from a negative place. I would like to say, though, because I am actually a huge fan of Jesus, as you know, Jesus was called a devil worshiper too. And I believe his argument was like, how can I be casting out demons and also be a devil worshiper? Make it make sense, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you don't understand something, you put fear to it. You attach a fear label.
I was going to say your intention behind everything is key. If your intention with tarot is to hurt people and to cause problems and to get revenge, and then it's not a good energy. And is it demonic? I mean, it depends also on your view of your belief on that stuff anyway, because I don't believe that's a whole separate conversation. But your intention is not pure. Your intention is one of pain and fear. It's not good. If your intention is to help and to love and to support, then I think that leads the way, personally.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think there are dark forces that definitely work in this world. Because I went through a lot of spiritual warfare, and I've worked with a lot of clients that have been through spiritual warfare. So I definitely, I don't know how I feel about demons exactly, but I do feel like, again, there are dark workers, dark agents. And I do feel 100% that there are dark workers masquerading as light workers, using tarot, using divination, keeping people stuck, keeping people in fear, predicting bad things, taking people off their courses. And whether or not this is something that they're intentionally doing or this is just a byproduct of their natural energy, this is why discernment comes in handy, and you have to be discerning of the reading that you're getting. You don't have to take anything. And actually, if a tarot reader ever tells you this is 100% what's going to happen, run away as fast as you can. Because first of all, the future is not even set in stone. You can always be destined to go right and choose to go left. So again, everything needs to be taken with a grain of salt, including tarot.
So, I mean, when I do readings, I always start it by saying, this is the most likely path ahead of you based on the choices that you're making now. If you make different choices in your life, the reading will be different, but this is where you are at the moment. Because I've had people coming back, I mean, this was years ago, going, you said. And it drives me into, I hate you said. So now I kind of let them know straight off the bat, look, this is where you are right now.
Yeah.
You know, like if you suddenly decide you're going to move to France, well, the reading's not going to fit anymore, is it? Because it's changed, right?
Yeah. And the thing about it too is, like, I've noticed with my intuition that it's either exactly what's happening right now or it's going to be in a couple months.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is with my intuition, but I've had a lot of people come back to me months later and tell me that everything that I said in the reading has finally come to pass, that it didn't resonate at first, but then after a couple months, everything has happened. So I don't really know why that works the way that works. I do want to talk about this though, and I'm wondering how you feel about this.
Oh.
Do you feel that love readings are helpful or hurtful? Because I have my opinion. I mean, this has been a developed opinion over time.
Yeah. What I will say is I I have done a lot. I mean, you know, at the moment, I mean, I'm one of those people that follows my passion. And right now, my passion is coaching and books. But you know, at one point, I was just a tarot reader. That was my focus until COVID. And that's all I did. And I got burnt out. And I would say to people, the majority of my readings were life purpose. That was a big one. Um, Money and love. I did a lot of love readings. And the thing is, if I'm being completely honest, because I think I should and I can, look at that face. Everyone look at Jess's face for a second. She's like that. I don't like love readings. I don't like giving love readings. I find them this, I feel like, you know, when it comes to, because, okay, somebody's life purpose or someone's money, I am reading for the person in front of me, right? When it comes to love, you have got other people's free will at play that I don't know, right? And that person's not in the room, that person's, and I can get, again, I can tap in and give you messages that I hear and see and feel. But it feels like there are so many variables at play that it feels like even the reading itself is not solid and things can change quite easily. That's my take on it.
Yeah. I feel, and this is a bold statement that I'm about to say.
Brace yourselves, guys. She's about to say something bold.
You were controversial with the DV. Now I'm about to be controversial with this. I feel like collective tarot readings are one of the most damaging things that we have in the spiritual community.
Dum, dum, dum.
I really do feel that. And notice I said collective.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because when you are getting somebody to specifically pull on your energy, it is more reliable. Now, something with my love readings, because I actually get a lot of people that come to me for love readings. I don't know why. I'm very anti-love readings, and I'm very vocal about this on my channel, but I guess that makes people think they can take more like stock in what I have to say. I get really positive love readings, and I get not so positive love readings when it comes to my the personals that I do. But one thing that I'll say to people is that this is a snapshot of right now, and things can change.
Yeah.
And that I don't believe in somebody being fated for you. Now, there's a difference between fate and destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny is something that is meant to be, but can be changed by your decisions, choices, and actions. Fate is something that is preordained and cannot be changed. I do not believe that there is a fated love connection for anybody. I do believe that you are destined to meet certain people.
Yes.
But just like me and Katie were destined to be best friends, if I decided tomorrow to never talk to her again, that would be something which would never happen. But that would be something.
Did you see my face? That I had a moment of panic. I was like, what? Where's it
going? But that would be something that I'm changing with my free will, my active free will. And I see in love readings all the time people who genuinely care about this person, but for whatever reason, family, work, money, societal pressures, addictions, whatever, fears, they will run away from that person. But they still love that person and they still feel the soul connection. Yeah. So having a soul connection or even being in love with somebody does not make a life partner.
No.
Now, why I say that collective readings are so damaging, because there are thousands of people that are watching these readings and attaching their hopes and dreams and biggest fears and nightmares onto these readings. And a lot of collective readings talk about somebody coming back from the past or this magical, mystical soulmate that's going to appear and make everything better in your life. It is so damaging because it keeps people stuck in these cycles. It keeps people stuck in these loops. If you're always waiting for your past to come back, you're not going to be ready for your future. You're not even going to be looking for it. And I get it. We've all had people that we care about and we love and we have to say goodbye to, and it sucks and it hurts. But what these readers should be doing, in my personal opinion, is focusing more on accepting the loss and moving forward. Because at the end of the day, if that person is going to come back, they're going to come back.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're waiting for them or not, but it's much healthier for you not to be waiting.
I also think with collective readings, the danger is that everyone's situation is nuanced. Everyone's situation is very personal to them. It's these confirmation sneeze. Excuse me.
But yeah.
And so collective readings can be damaging because, like you say, people will attach their own personal circumstances onto a collective reading and try and make that fit. So they'll take the bits that they want to fit and they will discard what doesn't fit, which I know you'll say, take what resonates and leaves the rest. But it's such an interesting conversation because you are a collective reader. But I've seen readers that read for the collective that seem to not have the care and the attention to their collective that you do. They don't seem to give the discernment. They don't seem to give the caveats. They don't seem to give the trigger warnings. It's just they throw it out there and like, this applies to everybody. And you're like, it really doesn't.
And see, we are all energetic beings too, and there is a such thing as law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a fear, like, so say I'm somebody that just got into a new relationship and I'm really, really happy with that person. I'm really, really hopeful about this situation. I decide to go ahead and watch a reading for whatever reason on what this person is feeling and thinking about me. Okay. Now, because I have deep-seated fears inside of me of rejection and abandonment, I am going to, I feel personally, naturally attract a message that is going to mirror that energy to me. And so now I'm hearing a reading saying that this person, and because it is resonating in certain ways, because it's a collective reading and it's kind of like a hodgepodge in a grab bag, you kind of got to pick what, again, fits and discard the rest.
Yeah.
But we think in our minds, well, if this fit, surely this part fits too. That's how our minds work with tarot readings. And now I'm worried that this person has got another person. They're stuck on their ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. They're cheating on me. They're doing this, they're doing that, because that's what the reading is saying. And that is so damaging, which is why if I do love readings, which is very rare, it comes up in the collective readings anyways, just in general, like general love stuff will come up. But I'm always trying to look beyond that. I'm always trying to like swim beyond it and see what the other messages could be. But if there is a love reading and it's toxic, which does happen, I will tell people basically, if you are in a happy connection right now and you're not worried about anything with your partner, please click off. I love you, but bye.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to hear this and you don't need to project this onto your partner.
Yeah.
This is why in love, we need to communicate with each other. You know, I'm feeling a little bit worried. You were taking a long time to message me back. Is there something that I need to know? Is everything okay? And then go off of that. If we start watching tarot readings to get our answers versus talking to our partner, oh my God, who even knows? And I have seen it in the comments. I have seen it in the comments where people, not in my comments, but in other people's comments, I have seen tarot ruin my relationship because I believe something that a tarot reading said.
Yeah.
I've also seen on the same token, people in comment sections saying that this, you know, the reading of will this person come back or whatever the reader was talking about. People in the comments talking about somebody from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago. It's okay. I think there's a certain waiting period, maybe, you know, if you want somebody to come back, like maybe a month or two. But after that, we really need to move on. We really need to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, you know, what's meant for you will not pass you by. So if that person, because you hear stories occasionally, you know, that we were childhood sweethearts and we met up 30 years later, and, you know, that does happen, but they're rare. And that's the thing. This is not the determination for everybody. And like you say, if you're constantly looking over your shoulder at the past, you're going to fall over because we have eyes at the front of our head for a reason. We're supposed to keep moving forward.
Yeah. And the thing about it too is like, you know, how I look at it is want what spirit wants for you. Be thankful that sometimes you don't get what you want. Yeah. I always get this vision in my head when things like this happen in readings where I'll see a baby crawling towards a pool and the parent going and picking up the baby and putting it in the playpen and the baby's throwing a fit because I wanted to go in the pool, but you can't swim. You don't know how to swim. That's a dangerous situation. I can see things that you can't see, says spirit. So if I remove you from this situation, sometimes we need to understand that rejection is protection or redirection. want what spirit wants for you, want a better path for yourself. We don't, be grateful sometimes for the things that you don't get. God, I could write a book on how many times I've been rejected. It's sad, right? Like I literally could. I could write a book on how many times I've been the one that has been left behind. But I find that when I look back on those situations, those weren't situations that were really aligned with me anyways. They weren't situations that were aligned with me or that were truly going to make me happy. So I don't know. I really do feel like collective love readings, which is unfortunately the majority of collective readings out there. I think it's like probably 75% love readings. And then the other 25% is, I don't know, spirituality, money, whatever. But the big chunk is love, because love and pain, it sells, because people are desperate. Like you said, when people come to a tarot reader, I very rarely have somebody come into my inbox saying everything is amazing and wonderful, and I just want you to confirm that it's going to stay that way. You know what I mean?
Like the other week, and I naturally will go, you start a call and I go, hi, you all right? And then I laughed and I went, I know you're not all right, otherwise you wouldn't be coming to talk to me. Nobody ever comes to see me when they're happy.
Yeah, it's true. Very rare. I have had the strange case of people who are like, no, things are wonderful. I just really love you and I want to get a reading from you. So any general messages, but most oftentimes, no, it's people who are sad. They're desperate. They're depressed. They're upset. They're going through addictions or battling, spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like it to each reader, like you had said earlier at some point, we have an obligation and a responsibility to understand that, be cognizant of the broken birds that are coming to our window.
Absolutely. So if you're watching this and maybe you're like, you're new to tarot, or maybe you've never touched a tarot deck, but you're kind of interested after we've been chatting for all this time, what I will say is go to the deck that you feel drawn to. Okay, don't go to like if you've seen the ones that Jess and I use and you're like, yeah, they're nice, but they're not talking to me, they're not speaking to me, then they're not your deck. Find one that speaks to you, because you will connect with it better and you will be able to pull the messages for it better. One of the authors that work with Doreen is a guy called Bradley Valentine, and I love him. I've met him twice, and he's gorgeous. He's just the nicest guy, and his decks are a really good starting point if you're not sure, because at the bottom of each card it gives you like a synopsis of what the card means. Because one of the big hang-ups until you get used to it and you trust your intuition is that you get caught up on what the cards mean, and then you start there's lots of different ways people will talk about, spending time with each card and going to sleep with them and meditating on them. And for me, it's like, I find that way helpful, because that takes out of I need to learn these before I use them. But that's just
my advice is a little bit opposite of Katie's, but that's okay. because I like to give different viewpoints, because it's helpful for each person. I say go get you a very classic Rider-Waite tarot, because there's nothing like the OG guys. Now, I can't find one that doesn't have marks on it, because I'm a fan of also writing on my tarot decks. It's your deck. You can do whatever you want. That's not sacrilege, I promise. But even if you don't have anything writing, Five of Cups. I mean, if you look at this, what does this make you think? What does this make you feel? It makes you feel like somebody's in mourning, somebody's in sadness.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I can just randomly, okay, the Strength. What does this make you feel? It makes you feel like somebody's overcoming something.
Yeah.
The Rider-Waite is perfect. It is absolutely perfect in its design. And so if you're brand new, I would suggest getting that deck to start out. I am not going to recommend reading the guidebook, but then at the same time, in classic Gemini energy, I am going to recommend you read the guidebook. I'm going to recommend that you do what's best for you. Me, I've never been a guidebook type of person. I never read a guidebook, guys. I never had anybody teach me tarot. I never took any classes. This is purely me winging it, and it's worked out for me, but that doesn't mean that it's going to work out for you.
No.
So if you want to take I can see Mom Katie coming in right now.
And I'm a bit like, Sometimes I do have to tell her. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
It puts work for me, but I am saying go take a class.
Yeah, there are classes like that. And again, if you're going to an online class or an in-person class, make sure that you have good vibes about the person who's teaching it, right? If something's off, they're not your person. Radley also, I promise I'm not sponsored by him, I promise. But Radley also has a book called The Big Book of Angel Tarot, which he goes through every single card in the deck because there's a lot of cards. And he will, again, it's just like it's an overview. There are spreads in there. I highly recommend that book.
Yeah. So there you go, folks. If you're interested in tarot, I highly recommend it. Even if it's just something for a personal practice and it's not
even if you just pull a card,
yeah,
one card a day yourself and
yeah,
just see what the message is for the day, that's cool. It's a good place to start. You don't have to start giving readings. That comes with, again, it's confidence. You have to get familiar with the deck and familiar with, how you work with it.
Yeah, I agree. And, honestly, in my zombie survival kit, there will be a tarot deck because you just never know when you need
But
to.
zombies need readings too, right?
Well, it's more like, should I trust this opposing group?
I must say, before I forget, because I meant to say this and I forgot. Last time we talked about in the supernatural paranormal episode on the last time. If you haven't watched that, go check it out. It was an awesome conversation. We talked about Hollywood and how they are very good at talking about ghosts as scary, demonic things that want to kill you. Do you know what really gets my goat?
Get your goat.
Goat.
I've never heard that before.
That's what we say. What gets my goat is when you're watching a movie or a TV show and they pull the death card and everyone goes, oh, like, fuck off. Like, seriously, I winds me up, nothing else.
The most controversial card in tarot, well, the two most controversial cards in tarot that are always used in movies, the death card and the devil.
And the tower as well.
Well, yeah, and I see, the thing is like, I don't know. I guess it depends on your relationship with death, but death is one of the most natural things that we can ever go through, right? Because we're all going to experience it at some point. But yes, there is that negative depiction of tarot, which is, again, why a lot of people feel the way that they feel about tarot.
Absolutely. It just really winds me up because it's like, if you understand tarot, if you start working with it, you understand that death is about endings and beginnings. It's about a new cycle. It's about letting go of what doesn't serve you, right? It's about accepting change. But they always go like, and then somebody will die.
Yeah. And while there can be predictions of that, that's very true. And I think, again, it depends on the reader. Most oftentimes it's not talking about that.
No, exactly. But every time they show it, that's what happens. It's like,
also with tarot, the thing that you have to understand too is it's about the surrounding cards.
Yes.
It's not just about the one card that says like, death or the devil. It's about what the surrounding cards are saying.
Yeah. The whole story, right? It's a story. That's how I see it. And so when the cards come out and I'm reading for somebody, I'm like, in my head, I'm going, what's the story here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. It's just, I had to mention it because it annoys me. And then, like, even to this day, I see it and I'm just like, but that's,
yeah,
it's a thing. It's fine. But anyways, guys, we hope that, you found this interesting, if nothing else, our relationship with these cards. And obviously with Jess has the Moody Tarot on YouTube. And if you haven't gone to check her out, make sure you do because she's the best reader. She's awesome. And I'm not just saying that she's my bestie. She's awesome. So go and check that out. But just thank you for watching this video. Like, seriously, and we hope that you've enjoyed it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this was necessarily educational, but it was definitely something that was entertaining, okay?
Yes.
Which is what I would say my readings are as well. So, but yeah, thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate you. Thank you for all the comments and all the support and love. We have gained about 100 subscribers since we started this, which is awesome. So thank you for everything. It really does mean the world.
It does. And, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed already, why not? That's just rude. So give us a like and a subscribe. We do appreciate it. And we send you loads of love. But next time, episode 8, which today, I'm recording this, by the way, it's the 8th day. And my life path number in numerology is an 8. There's something about 8 that I like. But we don't actually, we do have a topic, but we want it to be kind of, don't we?
Still no. Yes. We're going to keep this one a surprise. So you'll just have to tune in and see what is next.
Yes, we're not going to give any spoilers. If you're interested in, like, you're like, just tell us. We'll tune in next time and you'll find out, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. But anyway, look, thank you for watching this, guys. We really appreciate you. And we hope that wherever you get up to, you have a great, great day. Take care of yourselves, right?
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Oh, shoot.